Hey guys, what's up? All right. It's Double Deuce back. Today, episode, we tore the build apart, the Camaro build. I was playing around, had a couple of little problems, and for instance, I couldn't get it to shift into second gear, and I don't know if it was because of the fuel I had or just totally. It went a couple of times, and then so I don't know if the second gear clutch is sticking in the gearbox. I'll have to tear it out and see. But I also had a little weird thing happen here too. So we're going to learn an important lesson today on modifying things, what to do, what not to do. Okay. And at the same time, I'm going to go over the water pump assembly now that I have the engine out of the car again. And then neaten up some brackets and then take care of the little thing I had happen here. And stay tuned. Grab your popcorn, your beverage, your favorite smoke, whatever you want to do, and hang out with me today. Okay, here's what we got. Oh, I had to address a couple of brackets on the frame, kind of reroute my cooling lines here, try to neaten everything up a little bit. And I want to make a couple of new brackets for the motor mount. They keep coming loose, they vibrate. And speaking of vibration, okay, these engines, they put out a lot of vibration. And I was really surprised. Now, if you guys seen my last video where I got almost 13,000 RPM out of this engine. And for a V8 engine, that's a lot, it's quite a bit. Especially one that wasn't formulated, if it was a flat plane crank, that would be one thing, but this is a cross plane. So anyways, why I was revving this thing to no tomorrow, trying to get it to engage in the second gear, I was liking the RPM, and it came back down to an idle, and I thought, okay, I'll give it a test run. So I was at work, and it was like in the afternoon. I took it out, and I was doing a couple of tire burns with the thing, and I had a little trouble with the body when I put the body on. These tires are really kind of sticky rubber, and they were touching the outer wheelhouse of the body and acting as a brake, so those are the problems that you figure out down the road. So I'm either going to shave them out a little bit, wide body it, or I can tilt these in. They're adjustable. And now I was talking about a clutch. Being that these engines don't put out that much RPM, I modified my clutch. I'm going to show you. You'll see that I put in a piece of gasket material in there to take up the space. So with the clutch engages earlier, and then I reversed my shoes around so it's the aggressive side, so they bite this way, not slide, okay? And that worked very well. So I really didn't need that much RPM out of this engine. I just needed to get second gear out of it. So if you've seen the last video where it instantly lights the tires right up, and I'm going to try to gear it down a little bit more so I get some more speed out of it, because I wasn't really impressed with the speed. But I never got that far, because here's what happened. When I was running the car, it came to an idle, was sitting there idling, and I could hear something knocking, and here's what happened. Now the engine's okay. I was really surprised. As it was idling, it just stopped. And when I went to start it again, it wouldn't start. Because this little bugger right here, the rod cap, the bolts broke. So I found the bolts, 1, 2, 3. I got 3 little bolt heads here. I'll zoom in on them so you can see them and show you what happened. See the bolt heads? And then if you look in the rod, itself, up here, the screws are still in the rod. It just popped off, and good thing it was idling and not at a high RPM. And I got another one up here that popped off too. You see it up there? This one's missing. So that's the third one up here. It did do a little scarring inside there with these bolt heads flying around. But, and like I say, when I had looked at this, and I was trying to figure it out, it's like, you see the little scarring on the rods there and stuff, and that's normal when you got debris flying around there. But see, the heads popped right off the bolts, so I don't know if it's just faulty bolts or if it was me trying to like over rev this thing, you know. Sometimes we do that. We go way above and beyond the manufacturer's recommendations of RPMs and stuff just because that's what we do. And but like I say, that's fixable. I got I think they're 1.5 millimeter screws. I got a bunch of them, but they're not the black ones. So I don't know if these are soft stainless or what they are, but I'm going to try to figure that out. And I don't know if I over tighten these things, because sometimes I have that Ben-Hur thing where I break things off, you know, or if it was just the massive vibration holding it wide open for long periods of time, trying to adjust my ship points. So that's where we're at today. And I'm going to get a brief description of the water pump here, because I really didn't want to tear this whole thing down. But here's what it is. You have a back plate and your mid plate, and then you got your little outer bracket out here. The bearing goes on the back plate, the seal goes in the mid plate, and the other bearing goes out here. So when you're doing your water pump, don't put the bearing in the mid plate, put it in the back plate, because it rides like on an axis with the seal in the middle. And I made the same mistake that everybody else did. I put the bearing in the mid plate, and then I had to get in there and tap it out. So, you know, that kind of sucked. But, so this is where I'm at today. I've had a crazy week. We had this massive rainstorm come through here. And I think it was Thursday morning, I went out to get in the old Silverado, and the brakes went right to the floor, so I had to drive my 69 Z28 in this monsoon rain, and it was just killing me. So I got that taken care of. So between this little fiasco here, the brakes going in the truck, you know, it was just insanity. And but this is the hobby. You know, you got to take all your daily life stress and try to separate it with your hobby. So, but guys, like I say, the clutch thing, you know, works very well if you have the room to put in just a piece of gasket material. Now my flywheel, I had set this up, I believe this is off a, I don't know, Traxxas or something, but some of the flywheel, the pins are in different locations, you know, and if the pins are out more, you don't really need to have a lot of room to put stuff in here. You can put in something like a light piece of emery cloth to take up the space to give it a good grip. And but like I say, it worked very well. I was really impressed that it moved this thing so quickly. This engine puts out a massive amount of torque, and so if you can keep the RPMs down, I mean, like I say, they said, you know, around what, 12,000 RPMs. I mean, that's the high end of everything. I mean, you could take your street car and run it at, you know, 10,000 RPMs, but it ain't gonna last long. So you're gonna have things like this happen. For a race engine that was built to be a complete race engine, they have all the hardened hardware. They have, like, everything was, like, you know, engineered to run at high RPMs and stay there. But this one here, I think if we can get a good clutch setup like I got there, and get a good gearing second gear, you know, to engage early, and use the torque of the engine instead of the RPM. Even though they do sound good winding out, but it's just too hard. I mean, you know, it's just too hard on the engines, you know. They'll beat themselves apart. So, anyways, guys, this is my little thing for today. I'm going to kind of get some stuff done outside because it's a beautiful weekend out finally. And try to get these rod bolts taken care of in this. And I use, of course, you know, red Loctite on them, so I'm going to have to heat these up and get in there. And the nice thing is, there's enough of the screw sticking out, I can just get in there with a pair of tiny vice grips and just turn them out and replace them. I didn't see any damage to the rod or anything. It just popped right off, you know. And being it was idling, this thing kind of went off to the side, and it put a tiny little mark in it right there where it stopped. So, anyway, you guys take it easy. Let me know what you think. This is just part of, you know, a mechanical thing that we all have to deal with when we try to modify things to go way beyond what they were engineered to do. So I don't find any fault at all with toy engine because the crankshaft didn't break. It's perfect. And like I say, if it would, you know, as it was stalling, it kept starting, you know. But the problem was it was only running on like seven of the cylinders were on key, and that one was just off a little bit, and that's when it stalled. But you guys have a good one, and I will catch you later, man. Adios.